Hey guys, today's Monday, a manic Monday. No, actually it's a pretty good Monday around here. It's raining again here in North Carolina. I am about sick of rain. We actually had a really nice weekend with no rain. We had company this weekend. We had a really great weekend, but the weekend just kind of flies by, which I know it does for everybody. It flies by, and then you have to go back to work on Monday. So I have a lot to do today, and it is, I'm not even sure what time it is. Oh, it's already almost 3 o'clock. I'm going to be working and cleaning till probably like 6, 7, I don't know. I mean, my house is always pretty clean. I'm kind of a clean person as far as my home goes and everything, but there's vacuuming and dusting and mopping and all these things. I'm gonna go stay with my youngest grandbaby, the youngest grandson, our only grandson actually, tomorrow, and I'll be gone for a few days. Pretty excited about that. So, there had been something I'd been thinking about, and I don't really get on here and talk about anything personal, and that's not really ever my intention, because I don't know anybody really well enough that I would get on and talk about life, and everything. I mean, I think we all talk about our life, but not like you're not going to get on and tell personal things about your life to that degree. But I was curious about, with other people, about blended families. We have a blended family, and our family's done pretty well with being a blended family. Believe me, we've had our ups and our downs. I think there's always some jealousies within blended families. And then, you have the exes that you have to kind of deal with. And then sometimes they have kids with somebody else, or they don't, but you still have they still have your kids still have their parent, typically, unless they vanish and desert them, or they pass away, or something happens. Your child always still has their parent, unless those things happen. Or their child still has their mom or dad, whichever the case may be. But it's just a kind of a thought, like, about blended families. What's your thoughts on that? I realize there's a lot of people on here that have been married and divorced and remarried, and they have children, and their spouses have children. I've seen, just watching vlogs or live streams, some of the sad things, because I'll just be honest, in a blended family, there are some sad things. You either have your children's parent who's not interactive with their own children, and then I have seen where maybe somebody's child and their spouse don't jive together, if that's a word. That happens as well. And then sometimes there's jealousy within your children, between the parent, the step-parent, whichever. I guess that's just normal. I think people that have always just been married to the same person, like, their whole life, which is awesome and wonderful, and which I think most of us intended that when we got married. If we've been married before, that was your intention. Nobody goes into a marriage going, well, you know what? If it doesn't work out, we'll just get a divorce, and this is just what we'll do. Nobody goes into marriages intending that. Unfortunately, this is real life, and in real life, things happen. So, in real life, that, sometimes does come to pass, unfortunately. And sometimes there are people that keep a wonderful relationship with their ex, and then some people don't. I mean, it depends on how things ended, and I think how much time goes by. Like, a lot of time's gone by for me, And for my husband, you know, with his ex and my ex, there's been a lot of time that has gone by. And believe me, as long as we've been together, it's been a lot of ups and downs with that there always is, I think. And sometimes there's things that, you know, your kids don't even really know about that happen, you know, and things they'll never know about. There's things you'll just never tell them. And there's the things you just shouldn't share, to be honest, things that had to happen. But I do know can be a lot of jealousy within a blended family. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this too, but I have noticed this within a blended family, that sometimes one is, you know, whoever you're married to, but this happens even if you've been married to the same person forever. Sometimes, like, one spouse will think their family is the most important of anybody else, and your family's just whatever, or they don't really matter. You just always have to keep in mind that you have to try to, you know, you love their family, and sometimes that comes naturally. I mean, in my case with my husband's family, I really, really love his family. I really do. And I feel like I am, you know, a part of the family. I mean, I am. At least I hope they all feel that way. But sometimes people don't fit in. You know, sometimes you just don't fit in. Sometimes there's really not a space for you, even if you've been married a long time. Sometimes there's just not a space for you. Or either sometimes one family, you know, there's that, oh, okay, my kids, your kids, and sometimes there's, you know, those kids are more important, you know what I'm saying? And then your kids are not really as important. And then when you have grandkids, because see, we're at the grandkid stage now, you know, we're at the grandchildren ages, and we have blended grandkids now, you know what I mean, blended family. And I don't like the word step. I just don't. I don't like that, and I don't like the blood about blood. But unfortunately, even though I don't like it, and I don't like to hear blood's thicker than water, I have had blood family not be a family to me, and that has definitely happened. And long stories, you know, things I just really, really, really won't share right now, or maybe forever. I don't know. It'll depend on how comfortable I ever get. But I don't think I'll ever get that comfortable, because I see too much craziness go on here with people that are just genuinely just like to be a part of someone else's drama, but they don't want their own. I'm sorry, that's not how life works. That sounds awesome, but if you want that, then you just need to watch TV. You can't do that with the real life. Just go watch a TV show with all the drama, because you're just watching it, you're not part of it. Because that's just a TV program or a movie, whatever. But so yeah, I was just curious, you know. I know, watching a lot of streams and this and that, there's a lot of that on here on YouTube with families, and I've seen it already, you know, talk about their, you know, his kids and her kids, or her kids and his kids, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Or either I've met a lot of people, you know, but the people that have been married forever, which is wonderful, like I said, they don't get it. They've never, and if you've never gotten really remarried again after you've had one spouse and you split up and you never got married again, you don't get it either. You know what I mean? Typically, you don't get it, because it's still all about just your kid. If you married somebody that has children, you have to keep in mind that their children are important too. You know, I mean, like my kids, you know, I gave birth to them. Those are my children. I love them. I would die for them. I'd do anything for them, because, you know, they're my children. I love them. When you marry someone else and they have a child, you know, you have to get to know that child. It's not the same as far as you giving birth to them. But I think that we have been lucky, because I love, you know, our daughter I talk about is my husband's daughter biologically. She has a mom. She has a mother that is very much in her life. So now, you know, we are in the grandchildren ages, and we all have to share the grandkids type thing. And we always hope that that will work out well. You know, you always hope that it will, and that, you know, everybody can be a part and share and just enjoy. You know, I mean, people are like, especially people that have not ever, you know, they've just been with each other and they have a kids together and that's it. Like I said, they don't get it. Well, just enjoy your family. Yeah, I get that, but you know, sometimes other circumstances arise, and sometimes, you know, as a step parent, there are times you just don't feel part of anything. Also, sometimes, even if you've been married a long time and you have, you know, like I said, the other children, like my daughter, I love her very much. I did not give birth to her, but I love her. You know, I love her as much as I love my own children. You know, I do. And that's just how that is. There are people that don't feel the same way. I've seen many people and many grandparents that have a new grandchild, and they don't even acknowledge, I don't even know if they ever did, but I've seen people that never even acknowledge they're really their step-grandchildren. You know, it's like they don't pick them up, they don't do anything with them, there's no interaction with that family very much or whatever. And as the parent, I don't think I could stand by and watch that with my spouse. I'd be like, whoa, hello, we were a package deal. What's wrong with you? So, you know, it can't be that way. When you get married too, you know, believe me, I'm no expert on marriage. This is my second marriage, so I'm not an expert. I do think when you've been married more than once, though, it's like having more than one kid. You become a little bit more of an expert because you know a little bit more. And as you get older, you also have a little more insight on how things go in blended families. So, and you know, I don't get me wrong, I've always had my kids, so I realize it's hard on the parent that doesn't have their child with them as often. And a lot of times I see them, they want to be the friend and the buddy, the pal, you know, and they don't want to be the parent because they don't want to make them upset the children. Oh my Lord. Children are like ducks, you know. Water will run off of them like water on a duck. They actually adapt pretty well, especially when kids are young, when you get together. I think when kids are like probably 15, 16, 17 years old, and I've even seen grown kids, you know, where parents divorced and remarried or whatever, it can be really, really tough sometimes. I've seen that happen, and where the grown kids are just like, act like children, you know. You're like, calm down. Don't you want your parent to be happy? You should just like be happy they're with somebody. That's the one thing too that I think that parents that, you know, are alone and they're not remarried, you know, I know you love your children, but you know, keep in mind that your child, if they're married and have a family, that's their family, that's their children and their husband or wife. And you're not number one anymore. You need to make a life for yourself. And if they're all jealous and act ugly about it, well, they'll have to get over it, because what do you want to die by yourself? I mean, you know, especially when you hit 50s and 60s and on, you know, it's just my opinion. That's just all about that. But just curious about some blended families, of how you all have, you know, always dealt with everything, you know. Because like I said, sometimes, you know, you can feel like an outcast. You can feel like you don't matter. And this does happen when it doesn't matter how long you've been married to your spouse. When you have other children that have biological parents, excuse me, you have to share. And so, you know, sometimes you or them will feel like a fifth wheel, you know, or a third wheel or whatever, because you don't know where you fit in. I mean, like, there's graduations. there's weddings. Believe me, I'm not a drinker. I'm not a big drinker at all. Like I told you, cough medicine can flip me over the edge. But I remember, will tell this, when my youngest son got married, and some of his dad's family, attended the wedding, because they should. That's his dad and his family. And when they came, I wanted to make sure I greeted them and everything, because I really, really wanted everybody to feel comfortable, and I did not ever want it to be an awkward situation, because that's so hard for the kids. I mean, it really, really is. Even if they're grown, it's so awkward. And so I remember having a glass of champagne, and I just, because I'm not a good drinker, I just remember kind of chugging that down and going, okay, here's my liquid courage. Let's go over there and greet everybody. And I did, and it was fine, and it went well, because, we've been divorced a really long time, and I don't see his family that much. But when there's weddings, graduations, births of babies, then you have to come together. Typically with that ex, you have to come together. A lot of times it's not pleasant, and a lot of times one or the other can make it really awkward, and it's not always easy to deal with. So thank goodness it depends on your personality of how you can try to manage to be the bigger person, because not everybody does. So my children are all married except for one, and he's getting married in January. And that's the one thing I've told him. You always have to keep in mind that when you're married to someone else, all right, when you marry someone else, they have a family before you. They had a family before you, even if they've never been married before. They had a mom, they had a dad, whether their parents are alive or whoever raised them, grandparents, aunts, whoever their guardians were. When you marry somebody, they had a family before you did. They had a life before you did. And you had a life before they did, and a family before they did, and all that matters. It matters to them. Their family is not like insignificant now because you married them. I've seen that happen too, and it's nuts. So I just feel like, keep in mind always, this person had a life before they met you. They had a mom, a dad, they have a family. They have people, cousins, and people they grew up with, people they love. And at my age now, as I'm getting older, a lot of people that I had in my life aren't here anymore. Like, yikes. I mean, it does get down to that. It gets down to, that's why I'm just so big on saying blood's not thicker than water. Although I do see it within families a lot of times to where they say it's not, but then they kind of make it about that, And that's a little confusing to me, but so, people can say anything, but your actions show so much more. I saw a thing one time before, and this is when I had a situation. I will just tell this personal part about me only. This is about me, not my husband, not our families or anything, but about me. I mean, there was a time, like, my mom has been in a nursing home for like 3 years, I guess. Yeah, it's a sad situation, very sad. But I mean, aunts and uncles that come out of the woodwork when, an uncle, her brother, who I haven't seen since I was a teenager, or 20 or 30, well, no, wait, probably haven't seen since I was like 23 years old. And then he pops up and comes and visits and hangs out and makes demands and blah, 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 and all this stuff, because my mom is like dying, and my mom didn't die. My mom's a tough old bird, and she stuck around. She didn't die. But these are people that are my blood relatives. I mean, my blood runs through, not my aunt, of course, because that's his wife. That's his wife. He married her, which they're not blood related, obviously. He married her. That's his wife, and she's my aunt. But, you know, they didn't treat us much like a family. So, you know, it's not easy, and that's when I'm so big on blood's not thicker than water. It's just not. I have friends that treat me better and love me and care about me than that. And so I pretty much have written them off. I was really nice and kind, and I'm a really sweet person. I really am. But if you really, really tick me off, believe me, you'd know about it. I mean, it's just like when I've gone in some live streams and people are like, oh, you're so sweet, and you're so, and I really am. I am very sweet. I'm very nice. I'll fight you over my children. I get that. I'll fight over my kids. Big time. Believe me, blend in a family. Don't think I haven't fought over my children. I will fight you in a minute. So, I think that's just normal. That's just what, you know, human nature. If you're a parent, you love your kids. You're going to fight for them. Now, do you let your kids be brats? No. Would your kids want you to be mean to their friends? No, they wouldn't. So what gives your kids the right to be mean to your friend that you're dating, or are you going to be their stepfather or stepmother? You don't let your kids be brats. You don't let them do that. You don't teach them that's okay, because it's not okay. In the real world, other people are not going to put up with that. That's just not how that works. But anyways, I basically just wrote them off. Seriously, and this is my blood. My blood that runs through my veins. And I don't care if I ever see them again or not. They haven't been back to see my mom. Maybe once my uncle came. That was it. And these are people I grew up with, that I stayed at their home on weekends. We had family things and all that. So I guess, you know, it's just sad that things end up like that sometimes, and they do. But, like, my mom is still alive. My husband that I'm married to now, both of his parents have passed away. I never knew his mom. I wished I had have known her. I really wished I had. She apparently, you know, passed away in her 60s, and that's sad because it's really not that old, especially as you start approaching that. I'm 54, so no, I'm not quite 60 yet, but I'm 54, so I'm in the middle there, you know. I'm getting closer. I'm in between 50 and 60, so I'm in between, on the in-between mark. But so yeah, just curious about other people's blended families things, and you know, so I wrote them off entirely. I sent my uncle a really long, well-written text. I may appear to be a real ditz, but I'm really not a stupid person. So I sat down and I thought out everything I wanted to say, and so I did it. And then I sent it. I never heard back from him. So my thing was that I seen on Facebook before, and I posted it. When people show you how they feel about you, believe them. Believe them. Actions speak louder than words. People show you their really true colors. And that was how that was. So, you know, just believe them. I also have seen a really cool video before by T.D. Jakes. He is an inspirational speaker, minister. I think he has a church and everything. And he has posted this thing. I've posted it many times on my Facebook page before. Let them go. If people can walk away from you, let them go. Just let them go. He was like, you know, I have the gift of goodbye. Excuse me. It's not that I'm heartless or I don't care, but I am now at that age now in my life where I have the gift of goodbye. I don't really care anymore sometimes. As sweet as I am, I really don't care what people think anymore. I used to care a lot. Now I'm at that point to where I don't care. I don't think it makes me heartless or bad or anything, but you know, people are going to judge you. And for any young people that listen to this, always remember that. Learn it young. People will hurt you and they will leave you, but the people that stick by your side are the people that love you and will always be there for you. Always. And reach out to your biological parents. If they don't reach out to you, always try to reach out to them. You know, and parents, you don't neglect your children. You don't neglect your biological children or your stepchildren. If you marry somebody, those are now your kids. We were a package deal. That's how it works. We're a package. Your family's not more important than mine, and mine's not more important than yours. We are now one big combination of a family, and that's what we all are, a family. And now, don't get me wrong, let me say this. Like, when your kids get married, my kids that are married, their in-laws have now become our family. You know, they're our family too. But now, the in-laws' family's not my family. I don't know them. I don't have to know them. I don't have to be around them. Really, truly, I don't mean that in a mean way, but that's really not how that works. I mean, not really. I mean, you can combine them if you want to. We do try to do that, like at Christmas and Thanksgiving. We combine everybody because we have so many people in the families that we love. But, you know, there's on some occasions where you have, like, you know, your daughter's in-laws or your son's in-laws or whoever, or even them to us, you know, they might be like, well, I don't know her family. That's fine. They don't have to know any of that. That's okay. You know, they don't have to get to know my brother. I mean, that's fine. You know, he doesn't even expect that, and he's almost 60 years old. He probably doesn't care, you know. So, I mean, that is just how it is. But anytime you get married, your son's, you know, wife is now your family, or your daughter's husband is now your family, and they become your son and your daughters, and then you love them. And we love our family very, very much. And like I said, it's not always been easy. And now being blended grandparents, not always easy. But I have to say though, with that part, we love these grandbabies. And neither one of us see it as step-grandchildren. We don't see it that way at all with any of our grandkids. I don't see it that way. I don't know how anybody ever could be around, like, let's say that a child comes into your life when they're just a baby, like 8, 9 months old. How can you not love them? How do you not fall in love with a baby that age? I have babysat many children before. Fell in love with them. And they're not even my kids or my kids' kids, not my grandchildren at all. And fell in love with them because it's just, how do you not? I don't understand that. And, but no, as far as our grandkids go, and like I said, our families have blended pretty well. Like I said, we have definitely had our ups and our downs. And I am sure we will continue to do so. And that's just how that part works. So, but for my son, if he ever watches this, that's getting married, you always keep in mind that her family is your family, and that they're very important. Sorry, my dogs are crazy. I don't know what they hear. Let me see. They bark. I have chihuahuas. They bark at everything, and I mean everything. Nothing. Zilch. Nada. Nothing. There's nothing here. Nothing. Just barking for the sake of barking. because that's just what they do. Okay, well, that's my little thing for the day. Just something I had on my mind, and chatting with Dawn, right? So, food for thought. Be good to each other, and if everybody, there is this really special person that I have met here on YouTube that is super, super nice guy, and he goes by, his name is Simply Coastal. Was S. Adams. He is so sweet and just an awesome person, and he is in the hospital right now, so everybody will throw up a prayer for him. He's having some heart condition, and pray for him and his family. I think he'll be fine. I'm sure he'll be fine. But hey, prayers never hurts to give somebody a shout out to the big guy upstairs, and say a little prayer for him. So thank you. I will catch you guys later, and have a really good day. I got a lot of work to do because I've been on here for a while. So catch you guys later. Thanks for listening. Bye.